It's a gorgeous late afternoon in Denver, Colorado at the 2022 National Softball Championship Tournament. Third game of the day features the second-seeded and East Region champions, the Adelphi Panthers, against the seventh-seeded, the Nighthawks from North Georgia. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Denver, Colorado, Game 3, alongside Leah Secondo. I'm Brendan Gulick. Leah, this is a game that features a team in North Georgia that's been in this position several times, and a team in Adelphi that has not been here, but they've had a great year, and they've played a really tough schedule.
Well, and I think, first of all, for North Georgia, who will be the visitors today, Mike Davenport's team was not happy here a year ago. They have experience in this championship venue as a program. They won back in 2015 in Oklahoma City, defeating Dixie State, and some changes have been made. Again, this was their vision since fall. For Adelphi, they've had a difficult run through the Atlantic and playing also some Eastern squads, and they find themselves here with an opportunity. Women's sports at Adelphi doing very well this spring, both the lacrosse and women's softball teams finding their way to championship weekend.
In the circle for the Adelphi Panthers this evening, Claire Fahn, who's had a marvelous season, 24-5 with a 1.24 ERA. She struck out 174, walked 40 in just under 200 innings of work. Opponents are hitting 198 against her. They are leaning on her in hopes that she can help them start this tournament on the right foot. And before we go any further, I think it's at least worth pointing out here that the first two games of this tournament, frankly, were decided by poor defense. Two very good defensive teams that had bad days and lost. And so you've got to play defense because everybody here can pitch it. Everybody here is coming in hot after winning both the regional and supers. And they've proven they can come up with clutch hits, but you got to play defense and make outs.
Yeah, you make one slight error in the infield. And again, if you haven't been watching the first two games of the day, the infield plays very quick here.
Jolie Lester into the left field corner. Extra bases for the Nighthawks to get us started. Lester hesitated. She is safe at third. Wow! Lester avoided the tag. Head coach Carla Campagna is coming out to speak with the third base umpire, who did not make the call. Instead, it was the first base umpire, Bill Gattuso. Eddie Hall is at third, Chelsea Clark behind the plate. Coaches can challenge if they want to, but it looks like Coach Campagna won't here.
Talk about checking it right down the line, and I think Coach Campagna is just checking as to who actually was supposed to be making the call there. Excuse me, and when there's no runner on, the base umpire at first takes that runner all the way around to third base, so it is his call.
Great looks there from our crew. That was a bang-bang play, to say the least. The Nighthawks open with a three-bagger. And now Olivia Sinkfield stands at the plate. By the way, this North Georgia team is basically the same team offensively that they had a year ago, with the exception of the freshman, Lester, the only freshman in the starting lineup. How about announcing that you're ready to go and play this tournament by opening up with a triple? And now a lot of the same young ladies that certainly won't be fazed by this stage because they were here just a year ago, they'll be ready to try to drive her in and get on the board early. The 0-2 pitch to Olivia Sinkfeld is fouled away.
And Olivia, she almost came unscrewed there. That pitch taken a little bit off of it, just trying to get that ball in play somewhere to protect the plate with that 0-2 count.
Olivia Sinkfeld, the pride of Phoenix City, Alabama. Good play down low there. We'll set the defense for you real quick behind Fahn. Zierra Schrader, Lauren O'Neill, and Courtney Wengren in the outfield left to right. Around the horn, starting at third, Ashley Lombardi, Jaden Farhat, Amanda Owens and Faith Camilleri. Angela Lignelli is catching. Little soft sinking liner to second base with some serious English on it.
Hey, you know what?
What a base hit. Oh, man.
Sinkfield is at first base now going, you know what? In the book, it's going to be down as a hit. We talk about protecting the base, and this was pretty much a cue shot right off the end of the bat. And as soon as it hits the ground, look out, it just squirts the opposite way. Sinkfield finds herself at first base, and the first run across for North Georgia.
The Nighthawks come out swinging. Madison Simmons, the batter. Sophomore season's been kind to her. This is a North Georgia offense that can really get going. They try to get the force and do, but can't turn a double play. Simmons safe on the fielder's choice. Sinkfeld put out for 6. 1 out for Mallory Parker. North Georgia won the regular season championship in the Peach Belt for the 8th straight season. And they turned around and won the tournament championship just 1 week later, extending their record of consecutive championships in the Peach Belt Conference. They were the number 3 seed in the Southeast region. They were headed to Lenore-Rhine. They beat Carson Newman, Lenore-Rhine, and Wingate in 3 straight games to get out of the regional and move to the Supers. After Lincoln Memorial defeated top-seeded Anderson in the other side of the Southeast Regional, UNG hosted the Super Regional. They won Game 1 9-1 over Lincoln Memorial, and the Rail Splitters took Game 2 3-1. So we had that if-necessary game. J.C. Michael hit her first collegiate home run to push North Georgia 4-1 in 8 innings past Lincoln Memorial and back to Denver. Only team in the field here this week of our 8 that are back in the national tournament for the 2nd year in a row, as Fawn tries to get on the same page with Lignelli.
Parker steps back in the box here, and with a 2-1 count. I find it kind of interesting, Brendan, that one of her favorite hobbies is sleeping. I didn't realize that sleeping was a hobby. I thought it was kind of mandatory to function.
Oh, that's funny. We have to ask her about that.
Yeah. Well, that's her hobby.
My fiance seems to have a doctorate degree in that. 2-1 pitch is hit to left field. A sinking liner. Good play by Schrader. On her knees, sliding to make that tough catch.
Well, it all starts early for Schrader out in left. She was playing shallow. She's got good speed. Made the adjustment. Kept that ball completely in front of her and got it back in the infield quickly, hoping to turn a double play.
On the other side, Adelphi representing the NE10. They were champions of the league this year, beating Southern New Hampshire and St. Anselm.
Yeah, team that we've seen a couple of times here in this venue. For sure.
Hawks have a really good program.
Mm-hmm.
Adelphi lost the first game of the regional as the top-ranked team in the regional, by the way. That one misses down and in. They lost 6-0 to Pace, which forced them to scramble and try to figure it out. Well, a 9-inning, 2-1 win over St. Anselm with their season on the line. Then they turn around and beat Pace, and then they won both games they played against Caldwell University, and all of those games were nip and tuck the whole way. Then they went to the East Super Regional, which was in Garden City, New York. Hosted by those Panthers. And in a 3-game series, beat Wilmington University out of Delaware. Also dropping the first game of the Super Regional and coming back to win convincingly the next 2. So they've started their NCAA tournament with a loss in the regional and a loss in the Super Regional, but got hot from there on forward. Used to playing with their backs against the wall as Hannah Forehand gets plunked. Simmons goes to second, and now there are 2 on with 2 out for J.C. Michael.
little hard to see at that angle as she's cut on the inside, but I think on the follow-through, excuse me, from Fawn, you're going to see that she kind of slides off to that right-hand side of the plate, and so that ball is curving in just a little bit more to that right-hand side, catching her.
First time back to the national tournament for the Brown and Gold since 2015, which means it's their first trip under Coach Campagna, who took over after the 2019 season. First East Super Regional Championship in 7 years. Michael tags a pretty good one, high and deep and gone! Just snuck over the fence in center field. What a start for the Nighthawks! We just told you that J.C. Michael hit her first career collegiate home run to send the team to Denver, and look what she does in her first at bat here.
Well, and you know, sometimes the stars are born here at these championship events, and for Michael just carrying the play that she had at the Super Regionals to the trot to home plate for the Nighthawks, and that's a way to start that first inning. The jump once again by the visitors here in game number 3. Imagine that, the second homer of the season, and it was a clear, solid, hard shot to right center.
Just because you've referenced them as being the visitors again, in this first day, the lower seeded teams are the visitors each game. And, we heard every team talk about it with us coming into the championship. We don't care what we're seeded or ranked. We're hot. We're here. Let's go. Let's just go play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I think it's kind of funny that, it's working out in that way so far.
Particularly, I like the fact in tournament settings like this to get the jump, because I think there's more pressure on you. Obviously you always want that last at bat. There's no doubt about it. But in these settings, with the type of student athletes that you have who may not have been in this type of a setting before, there's a lot to be said in calming them down and getting them back to play the way that they know they can play by getting that jump, getting a couple runs in their pocket.
North Georgia, I remember back in 2018, they were the number 1 seed. That team was supposed to be, the greatest thing since sliced bread, as Gracie Mixon crashes a single through the middle for a base hit. And I don't want to take anything away from them because they were 62-4.
Yeah, that was a solid team
when the season finished up.
Yeah.
But they lost twice. And in each now of their last 3 opening round games in the national tournament, North Georgia's found themselves on the wrong side of the equation. They have lost their first game each time they've been here most recently. 2021, 2018, the 2 most recent ones. We're also here back in 2011. Mike Davenport, his resume, he's a humble guy. I enjoy speaking with him, but gosh, his resume gives you no reason to think that humility should be part of the equation.
No, Coach Davenport is one of the best to be around. There's a lot of great ones in D2, but Mike gets it. 22 years actually as a head coach, and he was really instrumental in helping secure the D2s heading to Chattanooga next year and getting the bid for it to be in Chattanooga. And while it's been great out here, this is our third year together and the 3rd year of the tournament and championship out here. Chattanooga's got a lot of work to do to be what they have done here at Metropolitan State.
I'm sure they will do everything they can to put on a good show, but you're right, this has been great out here for sure.
And going back to, you talked about that 2019 squad that the Nighthawks had. They were led by Kylie Smith.
Sure.
That solid pitcher, and she was, her ERA was less than than one, I think, coming into the championships that year.
That one's under Lombardi's glove, and everybody's going to be safe. Georgia Blair reaches Gracie Mixon down to second base. And this first inning has been an unmitigated disaster for Adelphi.
For those of you who are joining us and this is your first game of the day, the field here at Metropolitan State is all artificial surface. If you're not accustomed to it, it will play extremely fast and quick, and we're going to see a pitching change here for Adelphi. The ball gets to you quickly in the infield, and you've got to understand how the hops are going to be. They're going to be true, but it's going to get out to you quickly.
Claire Fawn is going to be replaced before the first inning comes to a close. So Fawn gets a half hug there from Lindsay Hibbs, who tries to pick her up. And if you're Fawn, look, you never know what this game is going to hold, and it's possible that she could come back into the circle. I don't know if it's necessarily Claire's fault either. I mean, again, she's had a remarkable season, but North Georgia has come out and just destroyed the softball. And right now, Adelphi's got to try to apply the tourniquet and keep themselves relevant early in this game.
Yeah, Fawn and Hibbs have done the chunk of the pitching for Adelphi this season, and for Hibbs, this is her 43rd appearance on the year. She, too, is solid with a 1.29 ERA for the righty, 23-7 on the year, over 190 innings pitched, 20 walks, 296 strikeouts, and a bit of a jam coming in here in this first inning.
I have to be honest, I didn't realize until I just saw the scoreboard. That's the second error. They gave Amanda Owens an error on the second batter of the game on that little cue shot to Owens that I didn't think
it was
she
an error
even
either.
touched it. The ball bounced in front of her and spun like crazy to the side.
Yep.
That's
so Sinkfield reached base on an error there.
Yeah, but they still gave her an RBI for it. This one is slapped foul down the left field line. So it's 4 runs on 3 hits so far this inning. Lester opened with a triple, and then J.C. Michael hit that big 3-run homer. Gracie Mixon singled. The 9th batter of this first inning is Maddie Perry, the sophomore shortstop who's only hitting a cool .394 this year. Lindsay Hibbs in the circle and misses outside. Which tell us a little bit more about Miss Hibbs, who's on in relief here. I guess it missed outside. I'll give you Hibbs' numbers on the season. 129 ERA.
Yeah, we had already
190 innings of work. Pretty impressive. Yeah. That one is on the inside corner, strike 3 called. Wow, Perry can't believe it. So a 4-run first inning for North Georgia. The exclamation point, J.C. Michael, her second career collegiate homer. Could it have been any bigger? 4-0 Nighthawks, middle of 1. That's a dream start for the Nighthawks. They sent 9 to the plate, scored 4 runs on 3 hits, took advantage of a couple of bad defensive plays by the Panthers, and now they've got all the momentum as we start the bottom of the first inning. We'll see how quickly Adelphi can try to put that tough top half of the frame behind them as Ziara Schrader grounds out to start on 1 pitch.
Well, you talk about being ready in the infield. And Forehand did a nice job getting in front of that ball and letting it go quickly, knowing that Schrader was going to be quick coming out of the box. My goodness.
How about sophomore Delaney Heberlin, who gets the start for the 22nd time this season for the Nighthawks?
Pretty deep pitching staff for Mike Davenport. Decides to go with the sophomore here, getting a great opportunity and on this stage over a long, what could be a long 5 to 6 days for his squad. 3.13 ERA, which, as you know, he's been touched up a few times, but 13-8 on the year, her 28th appearance of the season. She's got 11 complete games and over 120 innings pitched on the season.
Faith Camilleri, the batter. There are a lot of folks that didn't like the lack of a strike call.
No.
Camilleri skies one, back of shortstop. Perry gives way to Michael, and there's 2 outs.
I like that right there, Brendan. Outfield taking charge, as they should. Easier for the outfielder coming in. And the call off on the play by Michael. So she got it done offensively in that first inning. Looks like Perry's going to go back on these. Perry, you saw Perry's arm go up and raise because Perry's voice is going towards the infield, so she's using that arm and called off at the last second.
Here's the DP, Alexa Sacripante, sophomore hitting .330. Leads a team with 19 doubles this year. Camilleri, Sacripante, and Wengren are all closing in on 40 RBIs, and they hit consecutively in the order here for Adelphi.
Whoa.
Wow, good snag by Sinkfield at first base. She puts her out unassisted, and it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. Momentum Nighthawks. Great first inning for North Georgia, and they'll bat when we come back. Springtime is in full bloom here in the gorgeous city of Denver, Colorado.
I wonder what those flowers did a week ago when there was 14 inches of snow coming down.
Ran and hide like I would have. You can see the mountains there along the backdrop behind this field. This has to be pretty high on the list. I know there are some spectacular venues across the country. I'm not naive enough to say that slam dunk, this is number 1, but this is tough to beat. This is a really, really nice facility. I know there's no ocean here in Colorado. You're not playing along the coast, but this is awfully good. And they've done a great job hosting this championship now a couple times. We've had really high-quality play the last couple years, and so far so good here on day 1 of the tournament this year. The leadoff hitter is Jolie Lester, who led off the game with a triple. North Georgia batting around in that first inning. Lester takes a called strike, 1-2. So Lindsay Hibbs pitching after Claire Fawn was unable to get out of the first inning today. Hard grounder towards short, far hat, 1 out.
You know, going back to that 2015 victory by the Nighthawks in Oklahoma City, that was a long week of crazy weather. Adelphi was actually at that venue as well. It was the last time that Adelphi had an opportunity. I thought that squad that year was a solid squad. They ended up losing to Dixie State. Dixie State ends up playing North Georgia, and North Georgia wins. So there's a little vortex between these two teams going back to that 2015 national championship run for the Nighthawks.
Sinkfield reached on what is apparently ruled an error in the first inning, but she did get an RBI. That's a foul ball, just barely wide of the bag at third. Lombardi tried really hard to keep it in front of her and snare it in fair territory, but it's ruled foul. North Georgia 47-16. Adelphi 47-13. Both have had outstanding seasons. It's funny when you talk to some of the folks with North Georgia. I mean, the expectation and the goal is always to be here. But I think there were points this season where realistically they may have thought, I don't know about this season. This doesn't look or feel like quite the same kind of run that this team has, proven they've been on in years past. But when it mattered most, boy, did they really get it going.
Yeah, and I would agree, and I think the biggest thing is that we talked about Smith being their key pitcher back in that late run of 2019. You think that's the type of setting that you need. But I think this Mike Davenport team is a lot deeper, and his pitching staff is certainly a ton deeper as than maybe going back the last few years. And then, Coach Davenport's not afraid.
One hop to the second baseman. Owens makes the play nicely.
Like
2
many
outs.
of these veteran coaches, Brendan, if you look down the list of the 8 coaches here, they're not afraid to bring back their star players, their star pitchers, their star All-Americans to kind of keep that ground piece. Those players are close to what's going on the field, and I think that too helps with a team's consistent success down the stretch.
I know there's a lot of North Georgia fans watching, and so this is obviously not news to you that Kylie Smith's the real deal. But for those that aren't familiar with her, so she's now in her first year as an assistant coach. She's a graduate student. She was the 2018 National Player of the Year, and she was the 2018 and 2019 National Pitcher of the Year. 4-time All-American, the Peach Belt Conference all-time career strikeouts leader. She was an academic All-American, and during her career sported a 127-20 record, 9 saves, a .87 ERA with almost 1,300 strikeouts in about 170 appearances. I mean, she was just a machine.
And you want to keep that around,
Yeah.
You want to keep that. That's a good juju, and that's someone who can relate to all aspects, be it on the field or in the classroom, and just can relate to the game in a little bit different way. And of course, Smith seeing the game in a different way definitely, I think, helps the current day player.
I'm sure it's been a little challenging for her as a non-player, but she's a former teammate.
Yeah, you have
of
to
so many
separate
of these
yourselves.
young ladies. So yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a challenge there.
There is
a different dynamic.
There's an enormous challenge because typically, and I don't care what program you're talking about, Brendan, you have the good cop and the bad cop on your coaching staff.
Simmons grounds to Amanda Owens. And unlike the first inning, which featured an offensive explosion, North Georgia goes quietly in order with 3 groundouts in the top of the second. But they still have a commanding 4-0 lead as the Panthers come up when we come back. Bottom of 2, 4-0 Nighthawks, who are back out there defensively. Adelphi looking for something to get going offensively. That'll help. First pitch swinging, Courtney Wengren, base hit. Wengren, one of 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for the Panthers. She announces her presence with authority.
I'm going to have a bet here that they got in the dugout and they said, okay, we need to be jumping on pitches right away and not sit back and allow any opportunity for Heberlin to get us up in the strikes, in the strike count. Yeah, so a good jump there.
Amanda Owens, first pitch swinging. She's going to reach on a base hit. Back-to-back singles to start the second for Adelphi.
Yeah, I agree on that too. And again, as you mentioned, jumping on that first pitch. Choked up a little bit on the bat. Good bat control. Hands kind of separated just a little bit. But that's that big hop. If you're going to bury that ball into the ground here, you're going to have good fortune.
Jaden Farhat, 310 hitter. Takes a good off-speed pitch for a strike. I think this is such an important inning right now for Adelphi, especially because of the way it started. Chop to third, Mixon snares it and turns the double play. Boy, does that change things.
Absolutely. Sharply hit ball. On the hop, high hop. Step on the bag and a nice solid throw over to first base. Owens moves up to second. Boy, does that change the complexion of the inning.
First and second, nobody out. Now it's a runner at second with 2 down for Lauren O'Neill, who takes an off-speed pitch that apparently misses down and away. Adelphi was exceptional at home this year. They were much more pedestrian when they played on the road. 20 wins, 10 losses away from home. Whether those were true road or neutral games.
Pedestrian?
Well, 27-3 is otherworldly, so.
Pedestrian, I like that.
Hits the outside corner, late strike call. Of the common folk.
Yes.
Not a great start to the season for Adelphi. They were 1-5 after their first 6 games. Not handled appropriately by Perry. That's going to bring home a run. Cut off by Sinkefield. Maddie Perry couldn't handle the hot shot. That's probably an error on the shortstop.
2 outs, aggressive base running, and you have to wonder if Perry was catching a glance there of Owens coming around, and she's coming around hard from second base. Just enough to take your eye off the ball. And Adelphi answering with their first run of the game.
Ashley Lombardi. High pop-up on the left side. Could be a tough play. Long run for Michael, and she makes the catch. Inning over, but not before the Panthers can bring home an unearned run. They're on the scoreboard here after 2. It's North Georgia 4 and Adelphi 1. Not a lot of traffic here. That must have been shot earlier this afternoon because it is 5:14.
Did they turn the lights on that? Because there's a lot more traffic moving around. Another great drone shot by our crew, and it takes a full team of our team to, it's easy for Brendan and I. We sit down and all we have to do is talk about the game. But let me tell you something. There's a village crew of our team that's here bright and early every single day. They've been here setting up since yesterday, and they've done an awesome job to bring you some wonderful shots of the city and, of course, the live action with inside the stadium here.
Trying really hard to put on a product for you this weekend, folks, that's worthy of a national championship tournament. We are grateful that we've got great weather. We've got outstanding teams again. Looking forward to, frankly, just having some fun. This is such a fun tournament every year. North Georgia's off to a great start in a 4-1 contest. Nighthawks, the champions of the Southeast region. Adelphi out of the East region. We've already seen, if you're just joining us for this game, we already saw the number 1 team in the country and the number 1 team in this year's tournament, UT Tyler. They lost the first game this morning, 5-1, to Cal State Dominguez Hills, who has never been here before. The Patriots making their debut as Division II opponents, but they did win the Division III national championship just a few years ago. And then in the game that preceded ours, Rogers State, the Hillcats, their debutants as well, 7-2. They beat up on Southern Indiana, who's in its last year as a Division II school. They won the national title just a few years back, 2018. Coming up after this game, the 4th and final game of the day, last 2 teams here, the Atlantic Region champions, Seton Hill, the Griffins out of Greensburg, Pennsylvania, greater Pittsburgh area. They've got the Warhawks from Auburn, Montgomery, champions of the South region from Montgomery, Alabama.
Seton Hill actually in the stands caught our game number 2, most of it, and I can understand that. They have since kind of walked away and are on the backfield now, just kind of working out a little bit. But, what else are you going to do? School's over. Some of these players, I will tell you this, some of these players we've learned that they're still taking summer classes, especially the number of nursing majors that we have for a number of teams. They are in the midst of their summer classes right now. But, I think it's the most difficult game is the last game.
For sure.
For both of those teams.
Just waiting around all
day.
You're
waiting around all day. You're waiting around all day, and you're trying to keep it as normal can be. But there's only so much that you can do.
Ball and 2 strikes to Mallory Parker. I tried to frame it. I admire the effort from Lignelli, but that was not a strike. Parker flew out to left field. Actually, it was more of a line drive.
Yeah, it was a nice. Yeah,
Schrader made that great catch.
She sure did. She sure did. To her knees. Got it back in quickly. Almost doubled up the runner at first base.
A base hit to left center field. It's going to get all the way to the fence. Parker hit it at a tough angle. She's trying to stretch to a triple and does. How about that aggressive base running? Mallory Parker goes flying around the bags, and she's in with a sliding triple.
I tell you what, that's all Parker on that play. And Brendan, where it starts is she's squared. Now, she's not squared to bunt. She was squared to get better eyes on the ball, to come back and get some good fluid motion coming through and be able to see that ball better. Parker gets around second base, Brendan, and it's all her. It's not Coach Davenport saying, come to me. She made a decision, little hesitation there, and that was just enough to pull her into third base. Nice job.
How often do you see 2 triples in a game hit to left or left center field? I mean, it's got to almost be the perfect storm, but it certainly requires a very aggressive mentality around the bases. Give credit to Lester and Parker for what they've done here in the beginning of this one.
And this is a surface that actually does favor the Nighthawks. Their home field in Dahlonega is just pretty much like this. So they understand what's going to happen when balls are hit to the outfield and hit hard and get to that fence. Very impressive base run in there.
Popped it up, could be playable. Lignelli, tough play, and she makes it. Boy, that's a big out.
Sure is. Sure is. No time to flip off the mask on this play. And she got a little help. There's a good crowd of Adelphi fans behind home plate. So look up, look up. She got to it right away. Nice job by her defense, too, to protect home plate and not allow that runner to advance.
In steps the hottest hitter in America. J.C. Michael cuts and misses. Back-to-back home runs in her last 2 at-bats. The first 2 home runs of her college career, the first of which was a walk-off to win the Super Regionals. And the most recent, a 3-run shot in the top of the first inning in her first at-bat of this national championship tournament. She's down in the count here, 0-2. A base hit would be sufficient here to make it, or should be sufficient, I should say, to make it a 5-1 game. We'll see what J.C. Michael has in store. 371 hitter during her junior season, not really known for pop, even in the gaps, but she is a very good slap hitter. And J.C.'s down on strikes. Big strikeout there for Lindsey Hibbs.
Does a good job. That was a nice little rise pitch that climbed just right in the right spot. And Michael not able to catch up on it.
There are 277 teams that play Division II softball as Gracie Mixon stands in. Everybody seems to have a slightly different makeup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adelphi is #1 in the country in whip, walks plus hits per inning pitched, and in strikeout to walk ratio. They don't give you free bases. Today, perhaps uncharacteristically, 2 first inning errors have come back to bite them. They're allowing, on average, .86 walks plus hits per inning pitch. They're really giving up less than a base runner per inning. That's part of the reason, maybe even more than that, a big reason, why they're 47-13 on the year. But it underscores the mistakes as that one has flown to right field, and a diving effort. Wengren couldn't hang on. That one got down. So Mixon, an RBI single as Mallory Parker scores and makes it 5-1.
Awful long way for Wingren to come. And actually a long way to go. And a nice job there. Wingren actually called off Owens on that play and just couldn't hold on as she hit the ground. Great effort, though.
Georgia Blair, the new batter. But again, it underscores, there's been a couple of errors. You've got to hit batter. You got to get the ball in quicker from the outfield. You can't be giving up triples hit to left field as Blair flares one out to the pitcher there. It's just been a frustrating day so far for Adelphi. They give up another run here in the third. This game is still in its early stages, though. We're in the middle of the third. University of North Georgia, a 5-1 lead over Adelphi University. School from Georgia against a school from New York. That's what the national tournament is all about. Literally, schools representing all parts of the country. First pitch swinging, sent to the second baseman. 1 pitch, 1 out. Angela Lignelli, her first at bat of the day, is quickly put behind her, and a forehand. Makes the put out. Back to the top of the order now in Ziera Schrader. Schrader grounded out to second base in her first at bat. 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. 3 runners left on base for North Georgia. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors, and so far 1 left for the Panthers.
Schrader really trying to push that ball. You see how her bat head is a little bit late in the zone. Push that ball to that left side and utilize her speed coming out of the box from that left side to gain that advantage.
Flared out into left field. Long run, but a good play. J.C. Michael puts it away. 2 outs. Michael got a good crack off the bat there. If she would have waited half a second before judging that, I'm not sure she would have gotten to it, but a good read. And Faith Camilleri bats with the bases empty and 2 outs. Brendan Gulick, Leah Secondo with you. Game 3 of this national championship tournament. That one's in there for a called strike. We can play as few as 14 or as many as 17 games over the 6 days in this tournament. 4 today, 4 tomorrow. The winner of this game will play the second game of the day tomorrow in a winner's bracket contest against the winner of the next game, Auburn Montgomery and Seton Hill. The loser of this game will play the loser of our next game in the last game of the day tomorrow, and their season will be on the line in that elimination bracket. That one just missed the inside corner. So 8 games over the first 2 days, Thursday, Friday. There's only 2 games on Saturday. Then Sunday we'll play 2 or 3 or 4, depending on those if necessary games. By the end of the day on Sunday, we'll know which 2 teams are playing for the National Championship Best of 3 series. There'll be 1 game on Monday, Memorial Day. And then on Tuesday, 31st of May, they'll play Game 2, and if necessary, the final game of the tournament immediately after. And we've got every pitch dialed up for you live on NCAA.com. Plus, if you miss any of the action throughout the course of the day, we'll have daily recaps posted with some highlights. Those are only a couple of minutes and a great way to get caught up on all the action. We'll post those at the end of each night. This one's down the right field line. Could be trouble, but it's down in foul ground. And I don't think we've had a chance to mention it to our audience for this game, but there are umpire challenges available. Or, you know, maybe we did mention that right in that first inning on that triple. But in case you missed it.
In case you joined us late.
Yeah, each team has 2 challenges at their disposal. High and tight, ball 4. Camilleri draws the walk. You only get 2, even if you win both challenges and the calls are overturned. You only get 2. After the 6th inning of the game, the umpires can decide to review a play. All reviews are done back in Pittsburgh. And the umpires do not make the decision on the review. It is relayed to them, and that decision is final. All right, 3-hole hitter for the Panthers is Alexa Sacripante. Grounded out to first base last time. Runner breaks, throw from her knees is a little high. Good effort, but not in time. Maddie Perry couldn't slap it on her.
That turned out to be a lot closer than what it appeared. And a really good job keeping that ball in front and really not getting any oomph on the ball. But no question about it, the hand is in and a safe call is made. You hang on to that bag. Boy, we've talked about how many times we've seen, especially with the surface here, some players will slide in and just keep going. You've got to grab that bag going through.
Soft floater toward short. Perry grabs this one with 2 hands, and the 3rd inning is over. A 2-out walk does not do any damage. We're on our way to the 4th. It's North Georgia 4 and Adelphi 1 on NCAA.com. North Georgia Nighthawks, they are ultra aggressive, and they jumped out to an early lead here in that first inning. We're now in the fourth. 5-1 Nighthawks. A bunt for Maddie Perry, and she reaches to open up the fourth inning.
Maddie Perry sizes up the defense here, Brendan. Little delay, slow delay in bringing that bat around to show the bunt. Saw the defense a little bit back on their heels and really taking advantage of it here in the fourth.
Nighthawks are 15th in the country, averaging almost 2.5 stolen bases per game. And everybody in the lineup can run. Called strike to Jolie Lester. Perry, 19 of 22, standing over at first base. That's her stolen base numbers of the year. Lindsay Hibbs in the center circle. She came on in relief after only 2 outs. Claire Fawn had a tough start. A 1 is hit hard towards short. They're able to get the force play. Great slide, although I'm not sure Maddie Perry was, I should say I'm not sure Amanda Owens was going to be able to try and turn double play there anyways. But Lester reaches on the fielder's choice. 1 out. Great effort there by Forehand.
Yeah, that's a tough play to go. You're going away from where the play is, and actually a nice play by Owens at second base to hold on to that ball.
Olivia Sinkfield bunts it. First base side. They throw it down the line. Lester goes from second to third. Snap throw to third base. She's back safely. Good job by the umpires rotating around appropriately there to make sure that they had everything covered.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that. They do a good job as their team, too, to rotate around. And bunt put down in a really good spot. And unfortunately in that play, Owens is coming over to cover the bag from second base. And you're trying to throw at the bag, but because of where that ball was off the release at first base, thrown a little bit behind her on her pass through. So we've got runners at first and third here with 1 out. First opportunity at first and third on the game. I would say no doubt about it that the Nighthawks are going to try to challenge Adelphi here and try to move things along.
Madison Simmons cuts and misses. They cut the throw off. And runner at third, Lester, was not really gullible there. So Sinkfield gets the stolen base. Madison Simmons with a chance now with a couple runners in scoring position. Fouls it back.
This is a dangerous time here for the outfield for Adelphi, too. There's no question that the runners are going to be pressing the outfielders. The outfielders need to make sure that they hit their cuts, try to split the batter base runner and the runner out at second base in Sinkfield.
Simmons a 300 hitter this year with runners on base, and she may add to that. No, it stays on the infield, and Owens grabs it. It is so sunny that sitting here in the press box from behind home plate, watching Owens look up to catch that ball, you can see the sun glistening off of those sunglasses.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything to that right side of the field is going to be a little bit of a challenge for those fielders.
Mallory Parker tripled and scored her last time up. She's also lined out to left field, so she's hit it twice the other way. We'll see what she can do with a couple of outs here. Parker's been fabulous as a clutch hitter this season. 372 with 2 outs. Counts even in a ball and a strike. As a team, North Georgia's made a living on 2-out RBIs more than 120 on the season. It's a fly ball high in the air towards Schrader, and she puts it away. Inning over. Not without a little drama, though. Couple bunt singles, had an error. 2 runners left in scoring position. Good job by Adelphi to hang in there and keep this a 4-run contest. Heading to the bottom of the 4th when we come back. Gorgeous look in the capital city here in Colorado at the State House. Not more than just a few blocks away from where we're competing. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Courtney Wengren leading things off, 4-5-6 for Adelphi. Wengren, Owens, and Forehand. High, deep foul ball out of play. You know, one of the things that I think has caught our attention is just that the visiting teams in these games have performed well so far. And look, everybody's a visitor, right? It's just the designated visiting team. But on this first day of the tournament, the visiting team is the lower seeded team. And so it does maybe beg the questioning for folks who aren't familiar, just an idea at how that process goes and how you determine who is seeded where, because you know, Cal State Dominguez Hill certainly didn't look like an 8 seed earlier, right? And North Georgia is not playing like a team that should be seeded 7th.
No, and they chattered a little bit with us about it and felt as though that they had been overlooked a little bit. But this is the most difficult piece for the committee. And a year, we've been here in Denver the last 3 years and understand what the committee has to do with that piece. A lot of it goes to strength of schedule, the RPI, who you've played along the way. And that's one of the challenges for the committee day, especially the RPI is looked at quite heavily.
Count is 3-1. Wengren fouls it back into the seats.
The gentleman didn't want to lose his Yeti on that one. He wasn't going to move. He's talking about it now. I was trying to barehand it, but he wasn't going to lose that drink.
Coach Campagna standing with her hands on her hips in that third base coach's box, wanting to see her offense get it going. A quick put out, 1-3 for Wengren. It's now 3 times the first 4 innings the leadoff batter has gotten out.
Nice job. Certainly a nice job there by Heberlin to be in that ready position and be able to field some balls back, hit right at her.
Amanda Owens, infield single her last time up, had the second of those back-to-back hits. And the only 2 hits so far for the Panthers. Delaney Heberlin, maybe we haven't given her enough attention. I mean, she really has been pretty darn solid. And as you mentioned, not their number 1.
No, not their number 1 at all. And that was one of the things when we spoke to Mike Davenport and Olivia Sinkfield a little bit earlier this week, that they were pretty proud of the fact that they're much deeper in that area. And we really appreciate all the coaches' time. There was a very quick turnaround this past week between the teams coming off their victories, realigning themselves to get their travel and everything done to get out here to Denver, and the team's really taking the time for us.
And that's the thing about Division II, right? There's not a whole lot of director of operations that are handling all that stuff. As a head coach, you're doing most of the administrative things that are required to logistically just make it all happen. On top of the scouting and on top of your media responsibilities with this, it's a lot of work.
It's a ton of work, and it happens fast, and it's coming at you fast. And yes, the NCAA committee is helping you because there's certain hotels and things that are already set up for the teams out here. But yeah, it's a team effort in those quick days. So again, we appreciate the 8 teams that are participating this week and take the time for us on Zoom. What would we do through COVID-19 without Zoom? And really been helpful so we can bring you some of the stories on these teams.
Amanda Owens draws the walk. Maybe we all need to invest in the Leah Secondo travel company. Somebody's got to do the logistics, right?
Yeah, and Adelphi getting a run around here. Mike Davenport just going out here. Want to make sure that defense understands where they're at, trying to protect this 4-run lead in the 4th.
It is a sunny and warm afternoon. I don't think that fatigue is playing a huge factor, but this is as warm as it's been all day. 85 degrees at the moment.
And add a few more degrees with the surface, the artificial surface. So if these players, haven't been hydrating last night, it's too late.
1 ball, no strikes to Jaden Farhat.
And notice if Farhat steps in here. She's choked up a little bit. Hands kind of separated just a little bit. She was just checking her hands there. Want to get a little bit more control on that bat.
Worked out nicely for her. She singles to right field, where Simmons comes up firing to second base, but Owens beat the throw. So a 1-out walk followed by a single, and the Panthers are trying to get something going here.
I can't take anything away from that. That's a good piece of hitting right there. Going with that pitch on the outside corner. Gets out there quickly. Owens had to really hurry down to second base. But now makes this a little bit interesting here with a lefty batter and O'Neill coming up.
Lauren O'Neill. She had a really good senior season. Reached on an error last time up. Takes off the plate.
Something to be said here. It's going to be interesting to see just how long the Nighthawks stick with Heberlin. This is the second time around in the order, right? And so the players for the Adelphi have had an opportunity.
Notice here there's nobody in the on-deck circle at the moment. Ashley Lombardi at third base for Adelphi. She, oh, you know what? I beg your pardon. She is in the on-deck circle. She was just hiding in the shadows there. She hasn't had a great offensive year, so this is the one you got to be careful to in the next couple batters. Grounded towards second. Forehand, underhand, tosses it. So they at least got an out. There's 2 gone now, but 2 in scoring position. And O'Neill moved him up for Lombardi.
Just as good as laying down for a sack. No question about it. You can see as O'Neill comes back to the dugout, just kind of saying her words of wisdom. Kind of watch for this, watch for that. 2 runners now in scoring position.
Lombardi, a senior from Edison, New Jersey. Apparently took one that just missed the plate. That was a tough take. Lombardi flew out in foul ground last time up. She comes in a little cold at the plate. Does not have a base hit in the postseason yet. I beg your pardon. She has one base hit. 1 base hit in 8 games here since the postseason started. That's a tough play. Ran into an out. So Lombardi unable to bring the run home because Farhat ran into an out on the base paths. And Adelphi unable to score here in the bottom of the 4th.
A run here to end the inning. Now, does the run come across? Continue to let it roll? Before that tag is made. And difficult, obviously, to see in that play.
First pitch swinging here in the top of the 5th inning, and nobody's going to catch it. Hannah Forehand crashes the party with a big fly to left field. Maybe all is fair after all. 6-2, North Georgia with a solo shot.
No doubt about it. Plenty of air, plenty of room. Forehand going out in front of the plate. She knew right away. And again, you see a lot of these players squaring up, trying to square their eyes up so they get some good, good 2 eyes on the ball before the release, and then pulling that bat back.
So again, just to clarify, in case you're just tuning in here, as this ball is hit towards short, and there will be no play. J.C. Michael reaches on a base hit. The last play of that last inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Lombardi grounded to the shortstop, and they ruled on the field that Owens, the runner at 3rd, crossed home plate before Farhat, the runner at 2nd, was tagged out by the 3rd baseman, Gracie Mixon. It was awfully close.
Yep. Wasn't challenged, so obviously they felt it was okay. Get the run back here off of the leadoff solo home run. Did the Nighthawks.
12th home run of the season for Hannah Forehand. She and Maddie Simmons have led the team from that power perspective all year. They both have a dozen dingers. So it's 6-2 in the 5th. Gracie Mixon 2 for 2 with an RBI. That one's going to get down in foul ground. 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error, 5 left for North Georgia. 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 errors, 3 left for Adelphi. We have seen, unfortunately, some fairly error-heavy play today. And the teams that have found themselves on the wrong side of the scoreboard are the ones committing all those mistakes. Not a big surprise. It's more a surprise that they're committing them because we've got some good defensive teams here. But historically speaking, playing good defense is critical in trying to win this tournament. Oh, 2 to Mixon. Fisted out into shallow left. Good play by Farhat, the shortstop. 1 out. Here comes Georgia Blair. Reached on an error and has popped out. I'd love to find out the reason behind number 71. That seems a little unusual. Big cut and miss.
Sometimes when you have someone that's already number 7, you have to do, let's shoot for it. And so your next option potentially is that. But we will find out by game number 2 if there's any other story behind 71.
This one's hit in the air pretty well to right center field. A long run, but O'Neill tracks it down. 2 outs now for Maddie Perry. Winner of this game goes to the winner's bracket tomorrow. The loser will play in an elimination game tomorrow night. Runner breaks. It is a perfect throw, and they tag her out. I think they're going to take a look at it. I mean, immediately J.C. Michael looked at Mike Davenport and put her hands on her ears as if to say, come on now, This should be reviewed. So we'll find out. The call is out, so there has to be indisputable evidence to overturn that. Unless the unless the umpires are going to call her safe in the first place. No, they're not going to change the call there.
Yep. So
just
they
initially say, hey, it's time to go look at it.
Yep. Time to take a look. And this is the first opportunity as they will take a look and challenge it to Pittsburgh.
Well, in full speed. Might be tough to tell from that angle.
Absolutely.
I mean, the throw beater for sure. I don't think there's any question about that.
From that angle, though, if we could slow it down from that angle for sure, that's going to be the angle that we definitely want to see, that last one. And I believe that camera was tight first base side camera. That one right there. You can't even tell from that angle there. If it's inconclusive, they've got to stick with the call that they've made. And from that angle there, it's very difficult to see.
I can see, honestly, why JC may have said, hey, she didn't tag me. Because if she did, I mean, it was a
minuscule.
nick of the,
Yeah, totally minuscule.
A nick of the jersey.
So, again, if you're joining us, as Brendan had mentioned at the top of the show, you get two looks and 2 reviews. But they only have 4 cameras to look at it at, and it has to be definite for them to change it off of those 4 cameras that they're looking at it in Pittsburgh. Each team has two reviews.
I think
I don't think that's enough for them to be able to see it.
And vice versa. If they would have called her safe,
yes,
I think it probably would have stood.
Correct. I agree with you.
It is so tough to tell, and unfortunately from this angle, umpire standing right in the way and the tag is on her back. I'm just not sure there's going to be enough to overturn it. In my gut, I think she's safe. But my gut doesn't officiate the game.
There's
so
nothing
it's
conclusive
6-2
on it, and so it has been passed along to us that the call will be upheld.
Okay, so she's out at second base.
Yep.
That's going to make JC a little frustrated, watching her reaction. She can't believe it. So again, as Mike Davenport shakes his head and walks away, it was not because it was confirmed that she was tagged out, but instead there was not enough evidence to overturn the call. So the top of the 5th comes to a close. North Georgia does get a run on the board. Hannah Forehand, 12th home run of the season, and it's now 6-2 in the middle of the 5th. Pinch hitter for Adelphi as we open up the bottom of the 5th inning. Kendall Wynn will bat for Angela Lignelli. Kendall Wynn, a sophomore for the Panthers. They try to be a spark plug here at the bottom of the order. One hopper right to Mixon. One out. Kendall Wynn from Fairborn, Ohio. which is home to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. One of the few Air Force bases in that part of the country. Went to Fairborn High School. That's in the Dayton area. 1 ball, no strikes. To Schrader, back at the top of the order, 0 for 2. Grounded out to second and flown out to left field. And that one hits the corner. Strike called. Actually, it was pretty cool. I was driving through that part of Ohio recently. I spent a decent bit of time in southern Ohio. And it's cool when you time it up right. You see some of those gigantic aircraft that are just doing practice takeoffs and landings. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, Fleet Week actually in New York this week, and great opportunity for people to see our country's fleet. So totally hear you.
Fouled away. It is kind of mind-blowing that something that big can get up in the sky and stay there
up
sometimes,
in the sky.
You know? Crazy. On this Memorial Day weekend, we are so grateful for those who have served our country, both at home and abroad. There's a lot of challenges in our world these days. As a military member in my family and lots of family and friends that all the time are thinking about those that are willing to put their lives on the line and serve our country. And thank you so very much for that sacrifice. Schrader has a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Bases are empty with 1 out, 6-2. We're in the bottom of the 5th.
Running that ball right inside. And for Schrader, doing a good job just to get a bat on it, because with 2 outs, you got to protect yourself at the plate. Knew it was running inside on her.
Good patience to at least get something on it. But Schrader is put out 4-3, and a forehand retires her. Schrader is 0 for 3 today, and it brings up with 2 outs, Faith Camilleri. Wow. No. North Georgia's fans are pretty impartial.
Well, it's interesting because both teams, game number 2 wasn't, teams hadn't even shook hands at home plate between Southern Indiana and Rogers State, and the fans, the North Georgia fans and the Adelphi fans were trying to get those illustrious seats right behind home plate. The fans were trying to get out, and they are both extremely vocal behind home plate.
I actually think it was less about where you're sitting from a spectator's perspective and more about having the shade that the press box casts, because the sun sets behind us here. It makes a warm day much more bearable.
Well, and these seats behind home plate, too, have backs on them,
Sure.
which is great. It's great. A little more stadium setting.
Deuce is wild. Outside. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Base is empty. Camilleri has popped out and walked. Slashed it out of play. Seen some pretty impressive individual efforts so far today. Anyone stand out to you in particular?
I think the attack overall and the hitting of the Nighthawks, I think in game game number 2 if you want to go back on the day.
This ball is smoked into deep left field. Leaping effort, but Michael can't get to it. Camilleri with a 2-out, 2-base hit.
Camilleri trying to have a piece in that conversation here with a kind of a delayed swing just a little bit, as Heberlin took something off of the pitch and she waited, delayed on it perfectly for a stand-up double at second base. But overall on the day, I think I would have to go back to the play of Roger State and Dre Morales, the All-American, with his 10 strikeouts on the day. I thought she was solid in stifling the Screaming Eagle bats.
And she got banged around a little bit, gave up 8 base hits, but only 2 runs. And those 10 strikeouts seem to come at such critical moments. We get a change coming here. I think we're going to get a pinch runner at second base for Camilleri. Let's see. That looks like Sophia Cicchetti. Lexi Fair had a 2-home run performance for Southern Indiana last game. That was fun to watch. Felt like Dominguez Hills just had a whole bunch of bats get involved. Never really one standout performance, as that ball was tanked foul.
And you look at it 2 ways, right? Solid stroke on a strike that you just need to stay back on a hair more, or a long strike if you're playing defense.
High fly ball to left, but Michael is there. And the inning is over. North Georgia gets out of it without giving up a run. Just that 2-out double, but we are headed to the 6th in a 6-2 game. North Georgia 6, Adelphi 2, on a day that has featured plenty of offense for these couple of teams. It started right away. J.C. Michael, a 3-run shot in the first.
That was a 4-run inning for the Nighthawks. And then finally Adelphi getting one back on the board in the bottom of the second, and also, unfortunately, running themselves out of an inning in the 4th. But North Georgia adding a solo blast, forehand, making it a 6-2 game in the 5th with that solo blast, and that's where we stand here in the 6th inning.
Get a couple of re-entries as Camilleri goes back in to play first base, and Wynn was the pinch hitter for Lignelli, who re-enters to catch. Over the top of the 6th inning, the batter is Maddie Perry, who was at the plate when Michael was caught stealing, controversially maybe, to end last inning. Perry can't beat it out. Put out 5-3 if you're scoring with us. One gone for Jolie Lester, back to the top of the order now, and the 4th trip through the lineup. Lester, an impressive triple to open the game. She scored. She's also grounded out and reached on a fielder's choice.
I like Lindsay Hibbs' composure in the circle right now. Looking loose, smiling. team is down 4 runs, but you stay loose and the people around you stay loose. And I think she's really exhibiting that in the circle.
Chopper towards second. Owens gets rid of it quickly, and there's 2 gone. Well, Hibbs has been Adelphi's saving grace. She's given up only 2 runs over 5 innings worth of work now. After Fawn had a tough day, gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. The batter is Olivia Sinkfield. Called strike.
Yep, took something off of it. I like that. Utilizing that first pitch. I don't think you'll see a second one of that here.
Olivia had an RBI in the first inning. Thought she had a base hit, but they ruled it an error. She's also had a bunt single. This one goes underneath the pitcher's glove, and Sinkfield will reach.
Hey, you know what? She did throw it twice. Took something off of it, threw it twice. Put it right back at Hibbs, who unfortunately didn't bend down enough to make the play on it. But yeah, totally. Scooted right through.
North Georgia's 10th hit is a 2-out single, and it brings up Maddie Simmons. 6-2 in the 6th. Maddie looking for her first hit. Big cut. Multi-hit games for Sinkfield, Michael, and Mixon. Nobody has a 3-hit game for North Georgia.
Most hits in this tournament right now are the Nighthawks with 10 on the board.
Two triples and 2 home runs for this North Georgia offense. Fouled away.
Ooh, that was close. Got to cover up.
Could be playable. Good effort from Lignelli, but not able to get there. This North Georgia team has won 12 of its last 13 games, dating back to a 4-game losing streak in the middle of April. They've lost only that 1 game to Lincoln Memorial, the second game of the Supers. 0-2, Simmons shoots one down and out of play. By the way, this is the 4th all-time meeting between North Georgia and Adelphi. The Nighthawks have never lost. They met twice back in 2008 and then squared off in this national championship tournament in 2015. North Georgia run-ruled the Panthers 7 years ago, 8-0. But that was quite a while ago at this point. Way upstairs. Mike Davenport was coaching then, but Coach Campagna was not yet in charge of the program. In fact, at that point, Coach Campagna was only a couple years removed from her undergraduate days. She is a 2012 graduate of Malloy. 4th year as a head coach. Hard grounder just wide of the bag. Foul.
Working the count. Working the count. Good little battle here between Simmons and Hibbs.
By the way, we talked a bunch about Mike Davenport earlier, but did not mention that he is sitting on 976 wins in his career, 258 losses. Another one fouled on the left side. Given the way this Nighthawks team is playing as a program, sure would think that Coach Davenport, God willing, would earn his 1,000th career head coaching victory at some point in the 2023 season. One of the winningest coaches in the game. Maddie Simmons down 1-2. Runner breaks. Safe at second base. That was partially because Lignelli just couldn't get it out of her glove.
Totally. Very unfortunate because she knew she has a rifle of an arm. But had to double pump a little bit. Just couldn't get control of that ball.
Well, now Hibbs wants to have a quick conversation with her.
Yeah, definitely with a runner out at second base right now. Not that there's sign stealing going on, but for Sinkfield, you're able to kind of give the batter a little bit of direction with an arm signal, whether it's going to be to the outside or the inside. So, sure, they're just having communication to try to alleviate that opportunity.
North Georgia with an insurance run at second base. Simmons torches one to left field. Schrader can't catch it. Sinkfield scores standing up. Maddie Simmons with a rocket to the left field fence. 7-2.
Hitting shoes on for Simmons here, and it was a great battle at the plate with Simmons winning this one. No chance at all for Schrader as it was punched over her head. RBI with Sinkfield coming around.
There's a pinch runner at second base, too, as Mariah Wicker will run for Simmons. Mallory Parker now batting. In the air to left. Schrader can't catch this one either. No problem bringing home Mariah Wicker. And on two consecutive pitches, RBI doubles hit to left field. 8-2.
Pretty much in the same spot and pretty much the same scenario as Schrader turning and unable to get a beat on it, especially with two outs.
Coach Campagna headed out, wants to have a conversation here with the defense, trying to figure out what's going on here. A little bit of a mental reset, a little bit of a coaching moment. So they break up the powwow. And it looks like there is action down in that Panther bullpen. I think that's starter Claire Fawn, is it not?
Yes.
So perhaps Claire could re-enter into the game. We'll see. And she only pitched to 8 batters and got just 2 outs in that first inning. Hannah Forehand homered last time up. Takes a called strike. She's also been hit by a pitch and scored. She's popped out in foul ground to the catcher. One of the better offensive second basemen in the country. Another look at her home run here, which made it a 6-2 game.
Solo blast in the 5th inning, and no doubt about it, she led off the inning with that shot.
Waited back on that one nicely. The throw across the diamond in plenty of time. And Forehand is retired. But the Nighthawks add another 2 runs. Sinkfield, Simmons, and Parker all with consecutive 2-out hits, including doubles from Simmons and Parker. And it's now 8-2, North Georgia in the middle of the sixth. (8-2) in the bottom of the sixth inning. North Georgia's put on the best offensive showing of the day so far in this tournament. How about this well-hit fly ball? Wengren, out number one. So there's one gone. Adelphi stranded a runner in scoring position last inning. They've left a runner on base in each of the last four, but only once was there one in scoring position. They had 2 base hits in the second inning, scored an unearned run, and they got an earned run in the fourth inning. And frankly, it's kind of a gift, in my opinion. I guess it's possible that it could have been truly a run scored, but I thought that tag was applied before the runner came across home plate for the final out of the inning in the fourth. At the moment, because the score is 8-2, that doesn't have a huge impact on the outcome of this game, and hopefully it won't. Hopefully it's decisive one way or the other. This one flown out to right field. Nicely caught. I think Wicker has stayed in the game in right field, where she was running for Simmons earlier. That was Amanda Owens that flew out. Now there's 2 gone.
Ball that worked back inside. I think Delaney Heberlin's performance today for North Georgia has been solid. We talk about the depth of the Nighthawks excuse me, pitching staff to really keep Adelphi off kilter in the box today. And she's been solid.
Gracie Mixon makes it a lightning fast bottom of the sixth inning. 1, 2, 3 in order and quickly. The Panthers are going back to the dugout. We're headed to the seventh. Final inning of regulation. If North Georgia hangs on, they'll be in the winner's bracket. It's 8-2.
Welcome back to downtown Denver, our gracious host for the last 3 years of the Division II Women's Softball Championship. And just a few hundred yards for the heart of downtown is this great complex at Metropolitan State University, home of the D2 championships for these great 8 teams that have made their way to the big city.
The Great 8.
The Great 8.
All right. No balls and 1 strike to J.C. Michael, who hit that seismic 3-run home run back in the first inning. She struck out and had an infield single since then. J.C.'s also played a really nice left field today. Oh, boy. Boy, J.C. must feel like she's getting the short end of the stick because she was called out at second base on a swipe tag that was reviewed and said the evidence to overturn it was inconclusive. She got hit by the pitch there and apparently will dig back in. 2-1. Six, 7, 8 in the order here. Tips that one back into the glove. You know, she must have supersonic touch because she felt that one graze her sleeve,
right.
But the other one she didn't feel graze against her jersey. Who knows? Hey, when you hit a 3-run home run, you have a little more leg to stand on.
Absolutely.
Grounds this one towards second. Amanda Owens, a routine play. One gone for Gracie Mixon, or at least that's the scheduled hitter. But Mike Davenport is walking over to the umpire, and Grayson Perry instead is coming to the plate. So, Grayson Perry, the freshman from Walnut Grove. Of course, the sister of Maddie Perry. 8-2 here in the 7th. That was a huge cut.
Great opportunity for the freshman to get a few cuts in this type of arena with where she doesn't feel pressure, right? You know, you got a big 6-run lead. Just get up there and take some cuts, take a deep breath, and feel what this is all about. And Lindsay Hibbs going right at her right now with that up on top here, 0-2.
Grayson chases one out of the zone for strike 3. That is a rare North Georgia strikeout. Only the 3rd time all day they haven't put the ball in play. Georgia Blair was the scheduled hitter, but she's going to give a word of advice to Haley Cummings, who's going to bat here. This is the 8th spot in the order. Haley Cummings out of North Gwinnett High School. Also in her freshman season. Cummings has had a couple of nice games off the bench. She had a 3-hit, 7 RBI game, 2 doubles and a home run back against Shawan on February 19th. Also had a 3 RBI day against Bluefield State in late February. He's had a whole bunch of multi-hit games, hitting .379 off the bench this year. Playable down the left side, and Schrader puts it away. So, a 1-2-3 top of the 7th for the Nighthawks. And as we go to the final scheduled half inning, it's 8-2 North Georgia. Last of the 7th inning. It's 8-2 North Georgia, 3 outs away from winning their first game of this 2022 National Championship Tournament. First pitch taken inside. Ball 1 to Lauren O'Neill. 7-8-9. O'Neill, Lombardi, and Lignelli, the scheduled hitters for Adelphi. North Georgia so far today has just been too much. 4 of their 8 runs came in that first inning. And the Panthers, before they got out of the inning, looked like they saw a ghost. It looks like Adelphi is headed for the losers bracket, and they would play in the final game tomorrow against the loser of our final game today, Seton Hill and AUM, Auburn Montgomery. The winner of that game will play North Georgia in the second game of the day tomorrow. We have 2 winners bracket games to start the day, then 2 elimination games after that. O'Neill's 0 for 2, reached on an error and grounded out.
Delaney Heberlin in the circle, 2-2 count here. She's coming off the last few pitches. We'll wait for O'Neill to get back in the box. Seems to be twisting just a little bit more, leaving those hips open, coming off more to the third base side. Just trying to work that outside corner, but.
Big cut over the top of it. Strike 3. I feel like Delaney Heberlin has just so quietly gone about her business today. There just hasn't been a whole lot of flash, but, I mean, you can't argue with the results. She's been super effective.
Really doing a nice job mixing it up, mixing up her pitches.
2 gone. So Lombardi flies out to center. And Delaney Heberlin is not going to finish this game. How about that? There's 1 out remaining. And North Georgia is going to Jordan Warzinski.
Freshman lefty. And this is an interesting move by Mike Davenport. But again, kind of understand what the thought process is of Mike here, trying to get the freshman a few reps in a game setting with his team up by 6.
Well, no pressure whatsoever on Miss Warzinski, who's got a pretty good chance, I would think, to either start or pitch a significant amount tomorrow.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
Mike makes changes in his lineup card there. By the way, Mixon went back to third, and Georgia Blair is catching. So they both re-entered after Perry and Cummings pinch hit for them in the top half of this inning. The batter is Angela Lignelli. He's grounded out twice. Warzinski zips one in there. Strike 1.
You know, keep in mind now you've gone from righty to lefty as well, so that ball's going to come in on these batters just a little bit different now. It's going to cut back into the inside of the plate.
Hard grounder, foul, wide of the bag at third. Warzinski on the season 7-2 with a 2.49 ERA, over 53 innings of work. This is her 26th appearance. She's only made one start this season. That's off the plate outside, a ball and 2 strikes. A little surprised North Georgia's fans aren't a little louder and more excited about the fact they are
last strike,
one
last
strike
inning,
away from winning an opening game in this tournament for the first time in a little while. They've lost each of their last 3 first games.
Right down in front of us here. Definitely appear a little stunned more than anything else. Wow.
Wow, just off the plate. So a 2-out walk.
That's a pretty good waist pitch right there. And even better discipline.
Zira Schrader back at the top of the order. A couple groundouts and a flyout, 0 for 3. Back to Warzinski, who underhand tosses for the final out. The North Georgia Nighthawks with an 8-2 victory.
The difference, the jump early. The 4 runs in the first, I really think knocked the Panthers off of their kilt a little bit, and then the pitching of Delaney Heberlin along the way, keeping things quiet on the bats. North Georgia moves on. They'll take on the winner now. Game number 4 between Seton Hill and Auburn Montgomery.
Final line score, North Georgia, 8 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. They stranded 6. Adelphi, 2 runs on 4 hits, 3 errors. They stranded 5. Heberlin the win. She goes to 14-8, 6 2/3. Gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. Fawn, the losing pitcher, 2/3 of an inning. She allowed 4 runs on 3 hits after a tough start for her. Time of the game, 1 hour and 57 minutes. North Georgia got it going with the long ball early on. J.C. Michael, a 3-run shot. Hannah Forehand hit a solo home run in the 5th. A couple RBI doubles. Simmons and Parker playing awfully well in addition. So the Nighthawks, 48-16. They're in the winner's bracket. Adelphi, 47-14. Their season will be on the line tomorrow night. For Leah Secondo and our entire crew, I'm Brendan Gulick. 4th and final game of the day coming up next. It's Seton Hill and AUM on NCAA.com.